is, of course, and very unpleasant sensory. It was always there in the back of the mind, but you really don't know how to define it. Uh, am I right, Dr. Manoj?
Absolutely. I think your experience itself is it's like a prototype of all those who are have concern about going through this pain, be it cancer or non-cancer also. You know,
Yes.
some at times non-cancer pain is even more difficult and challenging because the patients expect to get 100% relief from
Yes.
that type of pain, and that's a challenge for the pain physicians world over. So as you have rightly introduced and you correctly pointed out, somebody who goes through an experience of pain will remember this for lifetime.
Yeah.
And if they can actually impart their experience to people who are anxious about this particular problem or symptom, it will be fantastic. And sharing your experience and how you went about and how to overcome is something that's a phenomenal success, I would say.
Yeah.
So having said that, shall I go through the few slides of
Yes.
cancer pain with your
Yes,
kind permission?
we've
Yeah.
already done. So I would want the audience to understand that, pain is the symptom. Don't overlook it. It is so important, one, because often we have aches and pains in our body and they're consistent, right? They're always there. And we think that it can be because of certain other issues, but you need to look into the details of why is the pain being so consistent. And usually what happens that people overlook it, and then once you could have actually addressed the stage from the stage 1, but it can progress to stage 3. So pain is one of the signs which the body tells you to look inside what is happening inside the body and do not overlook it. Yes, Dr.
Absolutely.
Manoj, we can go ahead.
Yeah, as you have put it in this slide very aptly, it is an unpleasant sensory and emotional response and experience.
Yeah.
Just to give you an example, you see a lot of children playing around, and while they are playing around, one of the child might just trip and fall down. So the
Yeah.
first reaction of a child is cry, isn't it? The cry attracts a crowd, and in that cry, the child will looking for his or her mother or father, isn't it? So the
Yes.
moment they walk in and they take the child in their arms, the cry stops. So
Yeah.
it is momentary. It's momentary. They just want that soothing effect of holding the hand or holding the arm or just cuddling. And within no time, cry stops, the water dripping stops, and the child becomes normal and it resumes its playing activity. So such dreamy recovery from pain may not be always true in all scenarios, but at least if you are close to such a recovery wherein if you give relief from pain and improve the quality of life, I think that is the best thing to happen in a cancer pain. because
Absolutely.
of- because obviously this pain is very individualized and it keeps changing and fluctuating time immemorial. It keeps changing from time to time. And on
Hmm.
top of that, the presentation of pain in cancer is very unpredictable. I would rather say that if a patient presents with pain, it is actually a good thing because it draws the attention of the caring oncologist and the physician, and immediately the person undergoes all the necessary tests, and you
Yes.
can detect the cancer very early. But what
Yes.
about those patients wherein the cancer never presents with pain?
Yeah.
You take it for granted, you don't have anything, and at times they present in advanced stage. So in a way, it's a necessary evil that you have pain, but it should not be lost longing. That is very important.
Yeah, as you
The
rightly
reason.
said, I think pain is something. Pay attention what's going inside. As it's a clear definition. And for me, in my journey, for definitely, it was one of the signs where I started going out and seeking help. I think it's a blessing in disguise to have pain. I feel
I know, but not for long, I know.
not for long. No,
So
no, no.
so from the patient's perspective, pain arises because of the involvement or damage to a particular area of the body. So
Yeah.
when that gets affected and the nerves, the pain causing nerves are affected, that imparts pain and that actually draws the attention of the patient. So it may be any organ involvement, it may be any bone involvement, and on top of that, once that happens, usually the patients expect the pain to be short lived, and it
Yeah.
should go away over even a small over the counter drug or pain medication. But if this process prolongs for more than a couple of weeks, that is something that brings in anxiety over the pain. So that
Right.
is when you start seeking the help and aid of healthcare personnel to know in depth why this is happening and why is it getting prolonged. So it also leads to unsolved pain leads to interpersonal issues and stress and strain, and it also hampers the activity. If somebody is a mechanic working in a automobile industry and his role is very important for that particular process, and if he is handicapped with pain, people start doubting your ability to handle that particular task, and
Yeah.
that becomes a setback for that particular mechanic. So they expect the pain to go away at the earliest. But having said that, you should accept immediately that there is something that's going on in your body and that needs to be addressed at the earliest. That is
Yeah.
very important. If you start doubting about the healthcare system, uh, uh, that may lead to conflicts and that may actually unnecessarily prolong your actual treatment.
I have a
So
question here, Dr. Manoj, about the
yeah,
tumor. Now, usually what happens is people have, like, since they study, a little bit of lump. Like, if I go
correct.
back to my journey, a little bit of
Okay.
lump, and then you have all sort of questions whether it's painful, whether it's cancerous, non-cancerous, the area gets swelled up, that there is redness out there.
Okay.
Now, if somebody is a layman and somebody wants to understand what is the tumor growth when it's happening, like it's a small lump, is it painful? What are the signs one should look for?
Yeah, that's a very valid and very important question at this point of time.
Yeah.
See, painless lumps are quite normal. If you look at it, there is something called as neurofibromas and lipomas. They are small, harmless swellings that are present in at least about 30 to 40% of the population worldwide.
Right.
Okay. While these neurofibromas are familial, they come through family. Lipomas exist universal. It's called a universal tumor because it can be present anywhere in the body, but they are harmless and they don't usually affect anything, including pain or any other symptom. Having said that, if suppose you have a lump, for example, you take the small lump in the thyroid at the neck. Okay. There are many benign swellings that are present in neck, which usually are innocuous. Innocuous in the sense they are harmless.
Right.
Okay. But if this tumor starts growing rapidly, or if it starts getting that person into pain symptom, or if it hampers the swallowing or speaking, or if there is a redness over that swelling. So these are the changes you will have to notice and bring it to the attention of the health caregiver. Okay, because unless these things happen, we always consider it as a harmless tumor.
Right.
So anything that can happen in skin or anywhere else, rapidly growing swelling, or if there is a skin change turning into reddish or blackish color, or if there is pain associated with it, or if there is associated other symptoms along with the increase in size, like inability to move the hand freely. Okay, that means it is pressing upon a nerve and that is causing weakness. So these are the basic symptoms you will have to take uh, considerably into quick attention and bring it to the notice of the healthcare person.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
What is important is, once you know that there is a pain arising out of a tumor, you will have to go in depth about the reason why this is happening.
Right.
So when did this pain start? Since how long the pain is there? And does it stay throughout 24 by 7, or Is there any act or any actions that will increase the pain? At
Yeah.
the same time, any actions that will also decrease the pain. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or are they a person taking any medications to overcome this pain, or any alternative methodologies are employed to control the pain? Okay. And does this pain hamper the daily activity, including your sleep habit?
That's
Okay.
very
So
important. Yeah.
these are the basic things you should always think about while you address the pain. Okay. So the history is important since when it is there. And also on top of that, are you already on medications for controlling the pain? So, you know what happens many a time, there are patients who actually are already on a host of pain medications.
Right.
Okay. So these medications to an extent would have given them relief.
Yeah.
But after some time, even these medications stop relieving pain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that is when they start seeking the pain physician or the expert to take care of their pain. Okay. So it is important that you should know the proper history of medications. Many a time what happens is when they are already on a host of medications, whatever you start as a medication may not work
Yeah.
initially because they are already on a host of medications. So it is always better to disclose the pain physicians what their pain medications are, so that according to that we can modify our pain treatment. So these are basic things you should know about the pain approach to pain. So as Dr. Pare in 1598 had pointed out that as a doctor, our job is to cure sometime, you know, for whatever disease you are presented with, to treat most often, because you know large majority of the cancers worldwide have an answer, and the answer is yes. You can definitely treat the cancer provided you approach the doctor at the earliest at the warning signs. You know, each cancer
Yeah.
presents with certain warning signs, so that is very
Right.
important. Okay, I'll just give you
Yeah.
three examples of three types of cancers. Okay,
Sure.
one is an unusual rise in the swelling, be it in breast, be it anywhere else, is one. Number two, any change in your bowel habits. You know, you are actually given 24 hours clock, what you call as biological clock, and each clock determines a type of action. So even in Puranas and Shastras, it is very clear that your bowel evacuation should happen between 5 to 7 in the morning. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
this is what the normal cycle is. In about 75 to 80% of the worldwide population, this habit is still being there. Okay. Suppose such a habit changes, you'll have to bring it to the notice of the doctor. So it physiologically it can happen. You know, sometime you go out for a party, you eat late in the night, your
Yeah.
bowel habit may change. You have traveled a long distance, be it air or transport or road or whatever it is, and you are not able to evacuate the bowel. Maybe but traveling over 12 hours, you know, sometimes you may not be in a position to evacuate. That is physiological. That is what you call as physiological slowing of the gut mobility. Okay.
Yeah.
That reverses within 3 days. But suppose you start getting into constipation for unknown reason, or even diarrhea for unknown reason. So any change in bowel habits for over 2 weeks, again, it should be brought it to the attention of the
Should be more.
particular
Yeah.
doctor. And other thing is, for example, unusual bleeding in women, especially post-menopause, and unusually extended urination in male after 60 years. You
Mm-hmm.
know, normally after 60 years, it is but natural that you get up for voiding at least once or twice in the night.
Right.
That's the normal physiological voiding. But if this happens like 5 6 times, and you, despite 5 6 times of voiding, you are not able to completely void your urine, again that should be brought to the notice of the doctor. So few important things I've just, you know, exampled out to
No,
tell that
very
these
well.
are the things.
Yeah, these are very important things, especially now. I feel you're saying, but you half of the population is constipated uh, these days because they don't eat too much of fiber. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and one of the major reasons which I feel, even with related to pain, is the bowel movement. If they are not like excreting well, the pain will be there, the inflammation also is there.
Very true, very true. See, it is but natural that your bowel movements determine your body stature. Okay. By bowel evacuation, you are actually excreting lot of toxins. Okay. So if these toxins accumulate due to constipation, it starts having secondary effect on your body.
True.
Okay. So that is why your regular bowel clearance is so important. As you rightly pointed out, madam, see, change in bowel habits is all because of our dietary habits.
Yeah.
These days, I'm sorry to tell, but we are just becoming more and more westernized with regards to our diet, and that is
You
not.
don't have to be sorry. It is the situation
I
right
know.
now with a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, so our the Asian race and Asian subcontinent is not still used to the type of food habit what the Westerners are following. Okay, so if you bring in such type of dietary habits, obviously you end up in lot of constipation and other issues. It is difficult, but it can be overcome with the dietary reversal habits. It is
Yeah.
very important that you start reversing your diet and get back to your normal flora. That's why we have never heard anything like celiac sprue, anything like uh, allergy to wheat and stuff like that. It's never been discussed 20-30 years back, but suddenly even the Asian subcontinent is discussing about wheat allergy, gluten allergy. This is all because of the westernization of the dietary habit. I think people should.
Westernization of the dietary habit and also the crops, the seeds, the all GMO effect of the
Ab-
seeds which are getting into our soil and the fertilizers being used.
Absolutely. That is why I think, if you look at the currently, people are more and more relying on organic food items, probably because they are minus the pesticides and insecticides, and they are grown in a more better environment.
Right.
So I urge people to take it up. Try growing at your backyard. I think that is the most beautiful thing to happen. You know, Even a small 5 by 5 area is enough to grow a lot of things, and it will be very soothing to your eyes. Your own physical activity increases. It is a basically hobby more
Yeah.
than a habit, but you can make it as a habit later. So
Right.
I think that is very important.
Yeah.
So, as a patient, when you go through pain, I suggest you should speak freely to your doctors, whatever you're going through, because you're the one who actually is feeling it, and
Yeah.
it's time you express it out. Okay, any type of pain being anywhere in the body, you'll have to express it out, because there are ways and means, not just through drugs. There are ways and means where you can actually overcome this very early, and just the slight modification is all that you require. Okay.
So, Dr. Manoj, while we are talking about this, I want to just bring into everybody's notice that how important while going, if you're taking chemotherapy or if you're taking radiation, the topic of constipation and pain. If you are constipated, you have to tell your doctor or practitioner, because being constipated is not really acceptable. You're not throwing out toxins, and then of course it gives you a lot of other issues, right? Like it can give you several other gastric problems, it can give you pain issues, it can give you
True.
headaches, and it can also hamper your sleep. So the constipation over your, I mean, you need to tell, because the drugs are so that it can cause a lot of constipation. So dietary habits during the chemotherapy, and likewise you have to alter it, right, Dr. Manoj, if I'm
Very
not.
true, very true. Because we have various pain relieving methodologies. It may be pharmacological, it may be non-pharmacological. These days, they do a lot of pain interventions to overcome the pain in cancer. So, while we speak about pharmacological methods of pain relief, I think we are all familiar with so many drugs that have been employed worldwide. It may be non-opioid medications that are freely available over the counter, like the paracetamols,
Yeah.
the brufens, and the diclofenacs, and many such medications. Yes, they are used, but what I always suggest is, please go through proper channel. Meet a doctor, take a proper prescription, because The doctor knows what is your the type of pain you are suffering,
Mm.
and they know exactly what type of medicine that suits you, and they also know when to start a drug and when to stop a drug.
Right.
Okay, and what is the duration they are supposed to take. And the important thing is periodic assessment and re-follow-ups. This is where our patients will lose out. If suppose the doctor says please visit me after 2 weeks, please make it a point to visit after 2 weeks. you
Mm.
know uh, See, we are very particular about seeing movies. If one movie releases and within no time another sequel of that movie comes, and we always book the ticket and go and see the in the first show. Am I right?
Yes.
Isn't it? So when you are so enthusiastic about watching and getting yourself entertained, how about this? Take an appointment with the doctor on scheduled date, visit, and take stock of the situation. The doctor can actually withdraw the medications if your pain is under control,
Yeah.
or modify your medications, isn't it?
Right.
It's That's so important, I feel. And the other thing is, of course, there are opioid medications which we are all familiar, which is also used worldwide,
Yeah.
like the tramadols and the codeines and the strong opioids like morphine. And we even have pain patches. There are multiple pain patches available according to the situation. So these are all the medicines we normally employ, and all these should be under strict guidance and supervision.
Right.
Please don't self treat yourself, because many a time it will become difficult not only for you, even for the treating doctor. They run out of ideas what to do for you if you end up being on multiple medications and still suffering from pain. Doctors don't want you to suffer pain, they want you to have maximum relief, and they go out of the way to help you to have the best quality of life. So you should cooperate from your side. We are more than happy to help you. So that's what I spoke about, the medications which we normally employ. But
So
I
let's
think what
talk
is
about
important.
types of cancer pain.
Okay.
We know that there are like acute pains and chronic, recurrent,
True,
resistant,
true,
and phantom.
true.
So uh, let's talk a little bit so that we know the differentiation between types of pain while
Yeah,
we.
yeah, I think that's a very important uh, question you have just raised. Cancer pain can present with many ways. Acute pain is something which normally typically we see in a post-operative setup, like somebody following surgery, they will go through the surgical pain, the surgical pain of incision and other things, but they are all time bound. Okay, they all go away with healing. So it's a matter of 2 or maximum 3 weeks, and the normalcy is restored. Okay, that's why it's called acute pain. It lasts for very few days, a maximum few weeks. Whereas chronic pain is something that is long lasting. If some pain that is lasting for more than 3 months, that is what you call as chronic pain.
Right.
Chronic pain can happen if you don't control the acute pain properly. Okay, so many a time acute pain is overlooked and unnoticed, and many a time under treated. In
Mhm.
these situations, it slowly progresses to chronic pain. Chronic pain is something that is like a new disease, you know
Right.
because you can actually treat many things, but patient have to live with the chronic pain. Those
Mhm.
who have gone through years and years of back pain, those who have gone through years and years of arthritic pain, they will vouch for this, that yes, it is nothing less than a disease. So as a treating doctor, it is my duty to control the pain from not progressing from acute to chronic, and also restrict the pain, the severity of pain, through proper pharmacological methods and non-pharmacological methods. There is something called recurrent pain. Sometimes the pain comes and goes, then again it recurs. See, this recurrent pain you should always take very cautiously, because any pain that recurs, that means there is a new challenge up there happening in the body which we have to tackle. Okay,
Okay.
so that is something we'll have to uh, take notice. The other is resistant pain. Resistant pain is something wherein you tried all the modalities of management of pain, and still patient continues to have pain. That may be because of multiple reasons. It may be because of the recurrence of the disease. It may be because of the advanced disease. It may be because of the resistance to whatever you are actually trying to help them out. So resistant pain is a challenge for the pain physicians worldwide, but still we'll try to use all the methodologies to control the pain. So this is what you call as the different types of cancer pain we normally experience. So, with chemotherapy, with radiation, and with many pain relieving strategies, we can overcome all this pain. So reaching out to the doctor in time and showing whatever the problem they have, I think that will solve most of the issues, ongoing issues. So you can also pose a lot of questions to the doctor, like what they're going through, what is the type of pain they're going through. Even sometimes, a simple scale is used to assess the pain, like
Right.
something called as a numerical rating scale, bedside
Right.
assessment. Whenever a physician walks into the patient, they will ask on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is no pain and 10 is the worst possible pain. Where do you fit your pain into? So depending on what the person is experiencing, they will tell, I have scale of 3, doctor, I have scale of 6. So
Mm-hmm.
that severity will actually give us a hint that what type of medication I have to put this patient. So it's
Right.
important that we have to pose these questions and we get back get the answers from you. So don't hesitate, be open to the doctor. Don't have a veil in front of you. I always keep telling, don't keep a barrier between you and the doctor. Take
Right.
away the barrier, feel free to express your problems. Once you open up, lot of things can be solved. So being engaging with the healthcare personnel is so important to have the maximum benefit, because the doctors may be knowing a lot of things, but if you don't open up and discuss, they may restrict their treatment also. So be open, be nice, and it'll be fine. It will be a fantastic association and interaction. That's what I feel, and that's why I keep telling, develop a positive attitude. That will solve 50% of your problem.
True.
Okay. So we have multiple non-pharmacological methodologies to overcome the pain.
Yeah.
Simple massages. I have done massage to my patients whenever I visit them. They tell, doctor, you please continue because it is so soothing for me. It will
I
give me so
feel,
much of relief.
I feel what the kind of during my
Yeah,
treatments, I obviously went through massages and acupressure and
correct.
joke and doing like complete detox therapy with Kansa. So that
Hmm.
actually I used to get a lot of neuropathy pain, like lot of tingling sensations and
Hmm.
mouth sores. So, but I felt that it is getting better as I'm managing, and I obviously am not too much into allopathy drugs, so I did not take any single drug after 2 chemo cycles. I managed the pain and I managed through nutrition. So I just want to tell you all that eating the right kind of food during the treatment is so important. Just don't go study yourself, like, because usually what I've seen, and I know, I think you will also agree, is most of the patients, cancer patients, are deficient in a lot of vitamins, especially the vitamin D and calcium. So the vitamin D, if it's already less in the body, of course it will result in low absorption of a lot of nutrients, and it will also not resolve the pain. So taking proper multivitamins during the cancer treatment is so important, and analyzing what is not there in your body, because a lot of nutrients anyways get depleted while taking chemotherapy. So you need to replenish yourself with a good type of nutrition, and not eating like vada pav and all those junk food and everything which people crave during the therapy, because they feel that they get happiness with it. And also one of very very important point, also they get anorexia and cachexia syndrome, and they lose a lot of weight during the treatment. And one of the reasons why cancer treatments don't work is because of the malnutrition.
Absolutely.
Most of the deaths happen because of the malnutrition of while going through the treatment, and they can't manage their pain and all. So you, of course you will lose weight, of course you will lose a lot of muscle mass if you're taking chemotherapy or radiation, but then there is a way to revive it with the proper nutrition. And after the treatment also, you need to revive it with a lot of detoxing and giving your body the kind of good antioxidants to prevent the recurrence of cancer, I feel.
Absolutely. I think you made very, very important points. Even for somebody who has gone through all this, the way you are just gone about managing yourself is fantastic. Every chemotherapy, between two chemotherapies there will be at least 3 weeks of gap, if
Yeah.
I'm right. So why this 3 weeks of gap is there is because, one, for the chemotherapeutic drug to take its effect on the body and
Hmm.
help reduce the cancer growth and restrict or even completely eliminate. The other thing is, those 3 weeks are important for you to replenish your nutrition.
Hmm.
Okay, so that those 3 weeks, you'll have to really pump up yourself and tell yourself that yes, these 3 weeks they have given me to rebound from this
Yeah.
and be ready for the next session. That is how you self motivate yourself and you do something to face the next challenge, that's the next chemotherapy. And once you go through those chemotherapies seamlessly, I think by the end of the treatment you are more than normal. You can tell the world how you managed yourself and how you're ready to take the challenges. I think this is the most beautiful thing, having that self confidence and having a faith in the system, which is very important, and that positive attitude to overcome all this, so important. So we were speaking about massage. Even heat cold applications are quite
Yes.
common. You know,
Yes. Yes.
I've always encouraged my patients to apply this depending on the situation. Sometimes the bone pain gets relieved with cold application,
Right.
whereas the soft tissue pain gets relieved with heat application. I
Right.
also caution them not to overheat themselves, because it may even cause skin changes if they directly apply that heat,
Right.
whatever they're using. So it is always indirectly they have to use those applicants. Then we also have acupuncture, which is very popular worldwide,
Yeah.
which we have been doing it from time immemorial, and extremely important that you go through this acupuncture. Very, very painless. It's rewarding, but the most important thing is you have to complete the cycle. Once it starts, start to finish should be continuous. Once you give a break, it may lose its efficacy. So acupuncture sessions are very important, very vital.
Yeah.
We
I
have treated acupuncture
Yeah,
patients.
I really like the acupuncture and Sujok therapy during cancer. I think it relieves a lot of nerve tensions. And
True.
also, one very important part about managing pain is the breathing. I think breathing and yoga, it helps us calm down our systems and it helps to oxygenate our cells so that any pain in the body, it gets, when there is a lot of oxygen supply over there, it starts to relieve, it starts coming out. So breathing again, and the kind of breathing you do, not the shallow breathing, but uh, breathing from your absolute stomach.
Yes.
I'm not talking about the diaphragmatic breathing. I'm talking about the your tummy breathing, and
Yes. Yes.
not putting too much of a pressure, like not doing too much of asanas, but doing few asanas that time, which can again stress and relieve those the sections there. If you're having usually people have pain in their back, the lower backs, or people have pain around the tumors, or they have pain around your joints during the chemotherapy. So I think yoga and a little bit of breathing and bit of walk also relieves it a lot.
Absolutely. I think there's a saying in our local language, which means hittala gida maddala. That means, if you loosely translate to English, that means whatever you grow in your backyard, you don't think that it is of medicinal use, because you don't know the value of that particular plant. That
Right.
is what yoga is. Yoga is inherent in India. Okay, but the problem is we are not giving its due importance.
Yeah.
It can, you don't have to just keep doing asanas to get your relief. There are many methodologies employed in yoga. In fact, one of my very close friend, who is a neurosurgeon, who's working alongside me, he's a yoga expert. you know whenever a patient walks into him with any back issues or anything, first thing is he will never introduce himself as a neurosurgeon or a spine surgeon. He introduces himself as a yoga expert.
Okay.
What he does is he tells that with my yogic power I will treat your problem. If
Wow,
this doesn't work, only then I'll take you to the operation theater. Otherwise, I don't want to take you to the operation theater.
that's fantastic.
That is the confidence he has over his yoga than his neurosurgical skills.
Hmm.
He is giving importance to the yoga, which he feels can relieve n number of problems.
Yeah.
And I keep joking to him that not once have you sent a patient to me for pain related issues. I keep telling him, he says, when I have the armamentarium to handle it, why should I send it to you? Jokes apart, both of us have been interacting with each other. And in fact, I have taken him to some of the home visits I do for many of my patients. And we have given tremendous relief and tremendous therapies which have helped them over a period of time. So yoga is something which I always advocate. And whatever yoga we have been employing for ages together, the Westerners have glorified it over a period of time. And in fact, even China has taken a lot of cue from our yoga, and what they have done come out is Tai Chi and Reiki
Yeah.
therapies. Tai Chi is basically a meditation in motion.
Right.
So you are still and you do those motions, and you actually employ those motions for giving you maximum ultimate fists and leg treatment. Okay. Again, if you look at it, even this Tai Chi is basically imparted by Indian Hindu yogi by name Bodhidharma. So
Hmm.
Bodhidharma actually went to China and he taught them how to do Tai Chi. So
Right.
now they have taken it to a different level. They just need one finger and they will take away your arm. That is China for you.
Right.
So similarly, Reiki is a balanced universal life. They channel your energy to different areas
Hmm.
through mind body focus and meditation.
Yeah.
So this is what you call as non-pharmacological methods. Meditation, as you rightly said, is so important. And on top of that, icing on the cake type is the diet and sleep, what you actually
Yeah.
imbibe yourself.
Yeah.
During these therapies, your diet and sleep is so important. 7 to 8 hours of good sleep. Sleep itself is a major thing. We can discuss at length what is insomnia and how to go about managing insomnia. It is such an important, vital problem worldwide, and how to go about managing that. So spending sleepless nights is quite normal during patients going through this chemotherapy, because they'll be anxious about what's going to happen, isn't it?
Right.
So as a doctor and as a friend, we need to assure and calm them and make
Also,
them prepared.
what I feel is during chemotherapy, a lot of women go through a lot of hormonal imbalances, which
Yes,
also
yes.
affects their sleep. So over here, I mean, you are in pain, and then of course you are going through like hot flashes and everything. So over here, I think all these alternative therapies like sujok and acupuncture and massages really help them to calm down, and especially the yoga and the breathing things along with whatever medications you are doing. We are not saying not to take those medications, but just change what brought you to cancer. That's what I feel. There is something which has happened wrong in your body. The chemistry or the environment has caused you to come to this point. So you need to ask yourself this question: that why is the pain coming, and why have I got cancer? And
हाँ
try to change it so
खेलो आप
you don't get it again and
है ना
again.
अभी थोड़ी सी पढ़ाई कर रही है
I think somebody's microphone is on, so I would just kindly request them to not interfere and please switch off your camera. Yeah, Doctor.
Yeah, I think very valid points. Having mind body control is so important. Especially during these cannot say difficult times, but challenging times. So
Right.
overcoming all this with the right attitude and having the right approach, seeing the right person, it is very important. These days anybody can become Google doctors. All you have to do is just type one word and you'll get n number of suggestions and n number of
Yeah.
this thing. But yes, it is important because you have to update yourself with what's going on in this world, especially in the medical section and even in oncology and cancer section. But there is somebody who is an expert. You'll have to believe them also. Okay.
Absolutely.
So that is where your relation grows, and that is where your actual uh, positive attitude comes from. So also we have a lot of pain interventional techniques we employ, like nerve blocks and other things, needling techniques, and very important procedure these days people are employing is what you call as intrathecal pumps, wherein
Mm.
they just deliver pain medication to whichever part of the body is affected. You just have to put a device and it will give you 24/7 pain relief, and some fantastic interventions are happening worldwide. Having said that, I think at the end of the day, holistic approach is something we always look forward to. Indians are known to have this approach by birth. We are more tolerant to what is happening around us and within us,
Yeah.
isn't it? So this is what is called as the right attitude. Having this attitude throughout your journey of cancer is very important, because many a time just this attitude can reverse a lot of things. Okay. So my suggestion and my request is, keep an open eye, keep an open ear and mind for whatever is happening around you. One, have a soldier like attitude for your own problems, right? I mean to say, you'll have to do it, you have to do it. If you can't do it, you will never do it.
And I
So
think
that
before
approach is very
having that
important.
soldier kind of attitude, Dr. Manoj, one needs to be empowered. One needs to have that knowledge. One needs to, as you said, keep your eyes and mind open that there is something like a holistic approach. And as you said, very rightly said, that ask questions to your doctor. Don't keep a veil, because we often we are so shy, or we have so much of things going on. We don't ask questions. Why is this happening? Even if, like, how will the doctor know what you're going through? So you need to ask a lot of questions, like we've posed the questions out here. Where is the pain coming from? How is it? Sharp, dull, burning, throbbing, shooting at the scale of 1? Not many people know about these questions. Not many people ask this question. I also didn't know. Actually, this is the first time I'm asking, because we are not educated enough to ask our doctors these kind of questions, or we are too shy. So webinars like these help us to open up and educate ourselves to ask the relevant questions to the doctors, so that we can take informed decisions.
Yes, yes. So that is why these webinars are very important for the public, and it's an eye opener for everyone. It's an eye opener for everyone. So that's why I always tell that we don't just treat pain as a physical problem. We treat this pain as a emotional problem, as a social problem, as a psychological problem, as a spiritual problem. So once you approach these in these different dimensions and angles, you're actually treating total pain and not just the physical pain.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what we try to impart as an educationist to our public. And as I conclude with one very wonderful slide, for all our patients, you matter because you are you, and you matter to the end of your life. So we are here to help you. We are here to take care of you. Have faith in us and be interactive, be open. We would love to hear from you more and more and quite often. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So if you have any questions from the audience, we would like to take it up, and you can post the questions or you can ask right now. And you can also contact us. If the reason why we are doing this, because Dr. Manoj is one of our doctors, and while you're going with chemotherapy or any other cancer therapy, we can help you manage so many other complications related to cancer. Not just managing pain, but also giving you right nutrition, right way to deal with it, right way of alternative methods are also so many, but which one to pick and choose for your kind of cancer. This is all what we do. We analyze the case and try and understand how can you manage and not get this dead, like this disease again. So if you have any questions, otherwise we can conclude the session.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. I have a question from Dr. Manoj, actually.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, around one month back, my husband had some lump around his anus, and
Okay.
that was around 1 centimeter. But we went to doctor and he checked and he said it is a thrombosed piles because of thrombosed piles. So he gave him some chimeral medicines, chimeral and that trypsin and all that. I don't remember exactly the name of the medicines, but that he had taken and it was subsided. And but after 2 weeks, now he's suffering from constipation for around 10 days. So
Okay.
so is it a concern, or I mean, I was just worrying and so.
See, basically what has happened is your husband is suffering from something called as hemorrhoids or piles. Okay.
Yes.
So what has happened is once you reach the concerned doctor, they gave some medications to reduce the swelling in that particular area. Okay. While
Yeah.
they reduce the swelling, but they are not able to take away the problem which is actually existing still.
Okay.
Okay. So this small swelling is still persistent, and that persistent swelling will cause pain, and pain in turn leads to constipation.
Okay.
Okay. So the constipation is the result of the existing problem.
Okay.
So there are two methodologies you can employ to overcome this. One is see to it that you include some laxative. Laxative is something wherein it will soften the stool and it will help
Yes.
pass the stool without any effort. So
Yes.
in your diet, so there are even most important thing is dietary modification.
Yes,
as
yes.
Shruti madam had told at the start of the session that in our diet we are failing to include fiber.
Yeah.
Fiber is such an important aspect of our diet which never ever causes constipation. So having the right diet, plenty of water, we fail to drink adequate water. It may be pressure because of our work attitude, because of our time, lack of time, but we are not spending enough time to have adequate hydration. Having good hydration, diet modification, dietary modification, including fibers,
Yeah.
and mild laxatives will help you overcome this problem. I'll tell you, you can start a mild laxative and see the difference. His constipation will disappear. He doesn't have to take laxative regularly. Only for this time he can take, and then modify his lifestyle and modify his diet. Include exercise, yoga in your schedule. You see the difference. He can overcome all this without any surgery. I'm telling you. All it needs is this 5-pronged attack. 5-prong means having adequate hydration, change in dietary habit, physical activity, having adequate sleep, and to ensure that you at least have some medication to overcome this problem initially, so that it will be solved forever. So this is my suggestion.
Okay, but sir, now the lump has, subsided. So it's not a concern, no? Because early when I had seen that lump, so I got actually very tense
What
about
happens
it.
is
So,
this
but
pile is.
I mean, it is sure that this is due to thrombosed piles. This is sure, no? If the lump has gone, that means there is nothing related to tumor and any such, problematic thing.
See, when we speak about this piles, there are two types. One is external piles and internal piles. Okay. External piles is what you and the doctor had seen and had treated. There is something called internal piles, which is not visible. Okay. So his constipation may be related to the internal piles. Okay. So what I suggest is, if possible, try to meet a gastroenterologist or a surgeon who can actually thoroughly examine and rule out if there is any problem inside. Okay. Once they can treat this problem, I think his constipation should be relieved forever. Okay. Constipation can only develop if there is some local problem around that anus. Okay. So I suggest you meet a surgeon and speak and try to solve the problem. Okay.
You can get back to us, Ritu, if you need any help or suggestion.
Yes, absolutely.
Take down our numbers and
So, okay, yeah. My number?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've put
Yeah,
it on the screen, our numbers. You can just take
okay,
them.
okay. I have one more question from sir, actually. If I can ask, I have a query regarding a drug called trastuzumab. Can I ask this question from sir?
Trastuzumab.
Trastuzumab drug.
Okay.
For target therapy,
Okay.
which
Tell
is
me.
given for target therapy. So
Okay.
Herceptin drug.
Herceptin. Yeah, correct.
Yes. I have just one query, one doubt, that the medicine about the drug. So I'm taking that drug for my breast cancer.
Okay.
This drug, I want to know that after reconstitution of this drug, the lyophilized cake which comes with the medicine. So after reconstituting it, they inject it into a saline bottle of 250 ml, right?
Correct.
So what I was worrying is that they had injected it with a very rapid flow from the syringe.
Okay.
So what I was worrying is that in the literature it was mentioned that it should go slowly, and it can cause some damage if there is some sheer pressure can cause some damage to the drug. So it should go slowly. So what I was worrying was that can it disrupt the molecular structure of the drug and may affect the efficacy? Is it like this, or it is okay like they had just pushed it with the syringe with the normal to rapid pressure?
See, normally, there is something called as pressurized infusion and non-pressurized infusion. If you use 100 ml saline, and if you ask let the medicine go over on its own, it will take about 15-20 minutes, isn't it? So in a pressurized this thing, you can just use your syringe and you can gently inject it over a period of time. So that may be about 5 to 7 minutes or even 8 minutes. Although those literature says that it has to be given slowly, even in labs, they would have used all types of modalities to check the medication speed and rate and whatever it is. And they would have come out with the conclusion that even if you had injected rapidly, it wouldn't make any difference. The only reason why they give it over a period of time is because, that will actually keep you all calm and quiet and you will be relaxing. Okay. That's why they use a time frame of about 30 minutes to 1 hour or 2 hours. And many medications go over a period of the day. That's what we call as daycare chemotherapy. So it doesn't really affect your system. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, because
sir, my question was that the syringe of that reconstituted drug, when it was pressed into the saline bottle before giving me that infusion, it was put into the infusion bag, that is means the saline. So with the pressure they had given it, so that is what I'm asking. They took around 5 to 6, 7 seconds only to just pressure, because these are monoclonal antibodies. These are monoclonal antibodies. So that is why I was worrying.
So when you push these antibodies into a larger surface like saline, they get distributed evenly over entire this thing, and probably they would have gently shaken up that saline, isn't it?
Very, very gently. I told them to gently swirl it.
They would have gently, they would have gently, so that the distribution is uniform and it is not isolated to one area. So the reason why they push it rapidly is because if you don't do that, some of the drug may get remained in the syringe and it may become useless. Okay, that's why they have to, once they reconstitute, they have to immediately push it to the saline.
Okay.
If
So
they
that
do it very
pressure,
gently,
yeah.
Yes, if you do it gently, it remains in the syringe and it becomes useless. Okay, that's why they have to finish that job at the base.
You can have a consultation with him if you really want. So we'll take another. We will have another question. If anybody wants to talk to Dr. Manoj, you all can just have a word with him.
Good evening. I'm Rahul Sansare. Hello.
Hi, Rahul.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Actually, hello. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Can you hear me, sir?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Dr. Manoj, can you hear us? I think his connection has got.
Hello.
Yeah, Dr. Manoj, we can hear you.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are audible, sir. May I ask the question, sir?
Yeah, go ahead and ask the question, Rahul.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Actually, before 20 days, no, my father was very fit and fine. He was eating 2 chapatis in afternoon and evening also. But then after he went for a marriage, and then he got some stomach upset. And then he went to a local doctor. But I will come to the point. After changing 2, 3 doctors, we came to know that he is having a stomach cancer. So we have taken him to Tata Hospital, and some electrolytes has been disturbed of him. And then after they made it possible that electrolytes is okay. But now they were telling that as the age is 76, they cannot go for surgery. So they were asking us to go for chemotherapy. So is it possible that he will sustain the chemotherapy, ma'am? Means any idea sir can give that how we can proceed, or we are thinking for Ayurvedic treatment, that we will go for Ayurvedic treatment. One in Gujarat, Vapi, one big Ayurvedic cancer trust hospital is there. So we want to move there. But for a question, I'm asking that how I can manage, or any ideas you can give us to me, sir. Yeah, thank you.
I think what Rahul, Dr. Manoj would be able to do is that once you send his reports, then only we'll be able to analyze the case and tell you. Because there are, like, as you said, that age is one of the factors, and also if whether his body will be able to take the chemotherapy or not, whether there are some other complications, and why has the cancer happened in the first case. That's like, because it's like a stomach cancer, there can be a lot of other complications besides that. So whether he's a patient, he's a heart patient, whether he has blood pressure. So all these factors we keep in mind, and what kind of therapy, the chemotherapy drugs are the doctors giving. So what is the protocol we have, are they following? So if you can send your reports to us, and we can have a consultation, and then only we'll be able to tell you that, okay, these are the other options you can take.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. On this number, if all the WhatsApps are working on this number, ma'am?
Yeah, you can WhatsApp on these numbers. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Yeah.
If you all have any other questions, please do put it in the chat box. Dr. Manoj, are you there?
Yeah. I had a phone call from the hospital, so I
Sorry.
had to cut.
Sorry.
Yeah, tell me.
So that was Rahul. He was asking about his father. His age is 70, in his 70s, and he's just got diagnosed with stomach cancer. And
Okay.
he's asking whether his chemotherapy the only way. I said we will have to check the parameters, like all the other reports. Then only we'll be
Yes.
able to.
Yes. See, one is, of course, the confirmatory diagnosis. Probably they would have done a biopsy, and that would have given the confirmation of the cancer. One. Number two, they must have done some scanning. They normally employ something called as PET scan, wherein you will get to know whether the cancer is limited to the stomach or has it gone beyond stomach. Okay. So based on that input, they will plan the treatment. So the treatment may be anything between surgery or chemotherapy followed by surgery. These are the most common options available. Okay. So ideal is meet an expert and go through the process.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Actually, he the fluid was collected in his stomach, and then they have removed the fluid, and they have went for checking, and there the fluid means is of cancer. They detected that, and it's near about 4th stage they are telling about. And the biopsy and other PET scan procedure is going on. So soon we will get that report, so we can share the things to you, sir.
Sure.
Means
If you need any help from our end, any consultation from our end with regards to any symptom, you can always fall back to us. We are here to do the consultation and help you. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Anybody else?
Thank
We're
you.
running short of time because Dr. Manoj has to rush back to the hospital. Otherwise, you can put us the questions, and then we can definitely ask him. And I'm sure we are going to have more sessions with you, Dr. Manoj. This was a lovely session. Thank you so much for giving us your precious time. And I hope everybody out here must have gotten a lot of information. And I'm sure this will help. And let's welcome this new year, and the Christmas with a lot of good health, and let's beat cancer together. There is a holistic way, don't forget. And Avana,
Yes.
and we are here to help you all out with regards to anything. Please take down our numbers, follow us, and I hope, we all hope that we could reach to as many people. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah. I would like to just end with a very small two lines sung by Kishore Kumar.
Yes.
रुक जाना नहीं तू कहीं हार के, कांटों से चल के मिलेंगे साए बहार के. So we are all in a journey, and I hope this journey will become beautiful as the year unfolds. Wish you all a very happy Christmas and a very happy New Year, and hopefully we'll interact more and more in the coming year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Manoj. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, everyone. It was lovely having you, and have a good evening and a very good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.